You on Etsy and you got a bad review and it wasn't your fault and you want it removed, but you feel that there's nothing you can do? Depends on what type of review it was. You can get it removed, and I'm going to tell you how. Okay, we all have had this. If you have an Etsy shop, there is one thing that people are looking for. This is how people buy. They go with the reviews. The reviews is the key, especially when you're first starting on Etsy. One of the first things, if you have an Etsy shop, the most important thing, like once you get that sale, you want that review. That review is the trust. People are saying, hey, somebody else purchased from them, I can now trust that person. But what happens when you get a review and it is something out of your control and you want to get that removed? Because have you tried to call Etsy and make a complaint like this isn't fair or this review is inaccurate? Good luck with that. And what I'm going to sit and tell you is, it's best when you know far as the policies and stuff. Now, I'm going to show you some of the reviews that I've had, and I've had them removed. Now, Etsy, I am not going to sit and joke or even lie on here. Sometimes they really get on my nerves with these reviews because, you know what, some people will never leave you a 5-star review or a 4-star review. I've even had someone leave me a 1-star review and say, this was great, excellent, exceeded my expectations. And I'm like, but you gave me a 1. I mean, is it another thing somewhere else in planet Mars of a 1 means a 5? Anyway, I digress. But for those customers, I can tell you what I do in those situations too. So in those situations where someone gives me like a 1, I send them a message like, you know what, thank you for your purchase. Could you tell me why, hey, 1, what do I need to do to get a 3 or 4, a 5-star review from you? And that's where we get a lot of times for those. I usually get, oh, I didn't mean to make it a 1. Oh, I wanted to make it a 5 or something like that. Now, Etsy only gives them 2 times to make an update. Other than that, once it's locked in. But I respond to someone on a review like that. And usually it's just reading, because that one's like rare, but it does happen. It's that person that, hey, I'm not great with the computer and I hit it and that's what's there. And they don't think anything big about it. But what is big about it is we need this for our livelihood, as far as for business. So, that review is very crucial. I can't delete it. I can't get rid of it. And you know what? Depending on the level of how many sales you have, even if you were to leave some feedback on it, it may not work because people are looking at that review. And sometimes even putting some common sense in it, which isn't common, a lot of people don't do. So we do know that happens too as well. But let me tell you what I do. So, one thing you need to know about Far's review is you really need, far as a seller, you need to know what to do if you receive a negative review. And there are a couple areas where Etsy will remove that review. Now, one of them is containing identifying private information. So Etsy has what they would identify as that, like personal information. So if that's like your friend down the street and they are all mad about you, or you used to date their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, they didn't put your name and home address in there, Etsy will remove it. That's not good, because once it's there, it's always there. I don't know how long it will take Etsy to remove it, but I wouldn't be happy. So they have a whole list of privacy and personal information. Never had that happen, because if that did, I know where that person is, and they will be getting the knock at their door. So, the other thing, like contain obscene, racist, or harassing language. That's one that's easy. Violate anti-discrimination policy. Prohibited medical claims, like drug claims. Solely advertising as spam. Never had that. Contains threats. Falsely inflated shop review score, shilling or otherwise that. And that one is one For example, when somebody has like a friend or family buy, to give them a good review. So they'll remove that. So on that one, on that significantly reduced items, opens additional accounts, whatever on that one. Those are all things that I think, as far as the seller, they're in hands on. To me, earn your review honestly. I don't want a review. I know getting that first review is crucial, but I don't want a review that I haven't earned. I don't need my family to purchase something to write me a 5-star to get a review to start. I've heard of that happening, even like Amazon getting someone to do it. That's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea is to earn it. But this is the one where, for the most part, I have been successful on. It's when number 6 are things that outside the seller control, such as a shipping carrier mentioned by name, of course, Etsy or a third party. Now, I think that's really a shame. Etsy threw them in there. Like, you put my name in there, so because you put my name in there, I'm going to remove the review. Etsy. Anyway, I digress because I have a lot to think about that. However, so on this review, the person said, hey, everything was fine, but my package was mailed to somebody else's address or something, for example, or sent to, not on my own, or delivered to somebody else's address. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not in charge of the postal service. That's outside of my control. So for this review, and when you're writing Etsy, because you can respond to Etsy, hey, I want this review removed. Don't put your feelings in it. Stick with the facts. And the facts is, I put number 6, according to your policy, number 6. And in my language, I put, the seller put things outside of my control. That's how you would do your response to Etsy. These number 6, per your policy, number 6. This is outside of my control. So you're letting them know, hey, that review is based only on something that was outside of my control. And when we had the pandemic, I can guarantee you a lot of people were getting bad reviews, and those were things where you had to be on top of it because people weren't even thinking logical, like you own the postal service or FedEx or whatever, you were personally delivering it. So outside of your control, and I would get those removed as far as for Etsy. Now, this is one of the things, and something that I don't like. For example, say if you have an item in several colors, like I sell letters, and they were in different colors. Etsy would send them a review for each one that they purchase. So, some people will leave one review, and like, I don't know why Etsy's asking me for 10 others, hypothetically, but then some would do like 10 other reviews. Great if they're positive, but say if they're negative. So by the time on that, you could have, you're fighting that, and they would have to say each one, oh, the shipping, or there's something that's out of your control. But if the last one, they just put like a dot, like don't, or red, or whatever, Etsy wouldn't remove it. Makes no sense to me. It's the same customer, same order. But, you know, go watch my video of why I minimized my sales on Etsy and started my own Forest platform, all because of things like that. But you can get this. And so, see, Etsy removed this review. And I was able to get that Forest review. Now, you have the ultimate review where it has nothing to do with anything that's on the list that Etsy has as far as what they will remove. And you have a customer that just wrote you a negative review. So what should you do before either A, you respond? A lot of times what I do is I reach out to that customer and I ask what warrants that review. And as far as a question. And, you know, because the review is very serious. In my opinion, you know, you cannot, a 1 is really bad. Like, okay, I gave you no service. Was there something where I need to make an improvement on to make more clear? Things like that. And a lot of times I get customers, because I even tell them, hey, we use our reviews for, this is how we make our livelihood. where did they get far as the premise, far as leaving a 1. And a lot of times they just have no reason why. And I've had reviews change. Now, that a review is somebody else's perspective. And for me, my top things where I know where a review doesn't warrant a negative review because I'm a stickler to it. 1 is quality and 1 is communication. I can't sit and say if someone says, hey, your price is too high or anything, but like the quality, because I know I use quality materials and I know I communicate within 24 hours most of the time, unless it's midnight at night, I'm responding to that customer within the hour. So as far as communication and quality, those are key things. And a lot of times you're either educating that person on something. So, and I've had people try to get over or threaten as far as with the review if I didn't give them their money back, or and those through the 7 years plus, those are few. So it's ways that you can handle that, and I don't get nasty with people, but I do escalate at 1. If someone gets totally here, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to be a hostage to your review, so you can place whatever you want because you're being nasty, and I let people know that, and that if they get to that. But for the most part, you can communicate with people, and they will update it, and that's done. So, going through that experience, yes, reviews do count. Do you have, as a seller on Etsy, do you have a way to get them removed? Yes, you do. So knowing far as the policies. So I'm going to leave far as a drop where in the link below everything, some of the verbiage that I've used to get far as reviews removed. But definitely also the link to the page that you need to know. If they fall on any of those, you can get that review far as removed. It's simple and it is easy. And if yours don't fall in within that, and you've already reached out to the customer and they still don't budge, then you as a seller, you can leave a comment. And that's really far as the last resort that I do, where you leave a comment. Because once you leave a comment on there, that comment stays. And unfortunately for a seller, we can't upload pictures like the buyer for a review. So that's why I always use, for me, leaving a comment the last resort, because that can't be removed. So I don't want to do that. So if you ever see a review where I left a comment on there other than thanks for a review or something like that, that means I could not get that customer there. The communication just didn't work. And that's how I work on that. And people will generally take that because they look at all the other reviews, like certain things don't make sense. So for example, if this party decor box, everyone says I love it, the quality, everything, Leslie communicated, da 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 da. People look at all the reviews and this one person says, oh, this was cheap. It sort of doesn't make sense, and I address it on here as far as quality. Or someone, you never told me anything. So that is pretty much how that goes, and I address it, and you stick to the facts. That's the case of the review. Don't get your emotions involved. You stick to the fact. You stick to the fact, hey, this was everything in the description. Hey, if you had any questions, you could have communicated. Or as far as with me, these are the colors that you selected. Things were sent out in a timely manner, and you've done. Because a lot of times, it depends on the person. They didn't read. They assumed, and all these other things that go through their head, and you just have to address it in a professional way, and that's how I've done it. So I'm going to leave a link of some of the ways that I've responded throughout the years of the review that helped me. You can use them exactly how I place them, or you can add your words far as to it as well. But don't be intimidated by an Etsy Fars review if you get a negative one. You can work it out either far as getting it removed or consolidating as far as giving good feedback on it. So stay blessed and can't wait to see you next time.